Hey, Art, we're lucky. We're in Southern California. We don't
Mm.
have all this terrible weather that I keep reading about and hearing about on television. This is turning out to be one of the worst winters in a long time, and it's probably going to get worse. Puxatawny Phil said there's 6 more weeks of winter coming. And boy, I got relatives in Nashville. They're getting snow on the ground. I got relatives in the Carolinas. They're inundated with snow. And of course, you know, when the spring hits, and the snow melts, there's going to be flooding.
Mhm.
This is one of those years. So we have, I know you and I have talked about this. We've got some tips for people who are in that storm, which is what almost half the country. Tips for taking care of yourselves during, particularly the snow, but any of these storm things. And
Absolutely. And John, for the audience, if they don't already know it, they know from my accent, not from yours. We're from the Northeast originally,
oh yeah,
so
we
so
know we
we
know what
we
we're talking about.
we know. And in fact, it is another crappy day in Southern California, warm, sunny. As a matter of fact, they expect record heat today. But
Yes,
having said all that, Um, yeah, the basic things that we always knew is drive carefully because there's black
sure.
ice. Stop shoveling. You know, you're not a kid anymore. Hire the kid next door to do it. Be careful of how you walk so you don't slip on the ice on even on your own sidewalk. So those are the basic things, but there's so much more beyond those basics that you should really be concerned about.
Oh yeah, and it's not just for us seniors, although seniors are more affected by these
Mm.
things, but it's for anybody who's 40, 50, 60. Some of those people consider themselves seniors, but they're not kids, as you say, they're not kids anymore. They got to
Mm.
take care of themselves. So one of these kind of out of the way suggestions, cautions, is dehydration. Cold weather is
Mm.
dry, generally speaking, dry weather. Despite the fact that there's snow or rain, you can get dehydrated. So, and that leads to other problems. It can lead to dizziness and forgetfulness and things like that, particularly in older people. So, look for dry nose, dry mouth, dry skin, and make sure you're drinking plenty of liquids. That's I think an important thing that gets lost among the shoveling and driving carefully cautions.
Yeah, another thing I'd like to point out is carbon monoxide poisoning. And quite frankly, most of people think about that as well, that's the exhaust of a car. Okay, if you have an electric vehicle, you don't worry about that anymore. But, having a car, let's say in the garage that's on and smoke comes to the house. But really, every so often you read about, which is really where the problem comes from, is that people are either using space heaters in the house
Yeah,
or even I think from the stove and everything else, if you have a gas leak, you can smell the rotten eggs. But once it's burning, the houses during the winter, particularly in the Northeast, I remember we used to seal them up tight.
yep,
And if your storm windows didn't work, you put plastic over the air conditioners that went through the wall at the time, so you didn't get that freeze, or even to double up on your windows, because nobody had double pane back in the day. But the problem with that is that the house is sealed so tight that the little bit of carbon monoxide poisoning that happens anyway, just normal the carbon monoxide, has no place to escape,
yeah,
and you can get dizzy and you could fall down. So there's so many things other than just getting sick from it. So be real careful about that. Make sure that you leave a crack of a window open someplace anywhere,
yep,
and especially if you use a fireplace. Well, fireplace will help, eliminate some of that. But leave a crack of fresh air someplace, or from
yep,
time to time open it up and go out and take a walk. And if you
yeah,
and so that's something I think most people don't even think about until they can't think about
right,
it anymore.
right. And the last one I think, which is really important, is watch for depression. They call it seasonal depression. All right, because you're indoors and you don't get out for a month or two sometimes,
Mm.
and particularly if you're alone, if you're a senior and elderly, it's a big problem for the elderly, but not just for the elderly, for anybody who's alone and stuck in the house. So, um, kind of watch for your neighbors, keep in touch with them, check on them. Uh, if they are elderly, maybe you can, shovel their walk for them or something like that. But mostly check on them
Yeah.
and make sure you spend some time to make sure they're okay. So, which I think we should probably be doing all year long anyway. But that's of course the three least obvious suggestions from us. So we're going to enjoy Southern California.
Yeah, actually, that's a fourth suggestion. Move to Southern California.
For more on Celebrating Act Two, visit our webpage, follow us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and tell your friends. Celebrating Act Two is the user manual for the second half of your life.